Call the meeting to order. Please call the roll.
Dr. Williamson?
Yes.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes. The next item on the agenda is the moment of silence to be led by the Board Vice President.
Thank you. As we begin this meeting, let us pause for a 60-second moment of silence to reflect, meditate, pray, or engage in any other silent activity. Thank you.
The next item is the Pledge of Allegiance to be led by the Board Clerk, Mr. Jerry Denton.
Please stand. Pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do I get my picture with y'all? I'm just kidding.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is the formal adoption of the agenda, but before we do, I wanted to call to the board's attention item number 27. So when we do approve items number 12 through 33, there'll be a removal of the second part of item number 27, which has to do with the dance club guidelines. The first part of that agenda item number 27 will remain intact. And so when we take the motion to approve items 12 through 33, that would then include the first part of item 27, but not the second part. So any other questions or comments, and then I would entertain a motion.
Ms. Kelly, we're going to bring the second part up at another time?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Allen. The second part of that will come up at the next board meeting. Okay, the second part of that will come up at the next board meeting.
Could you go ahead and state maybe the two differences too? That might be helpful for
Yes, the first part of that item is the Freshman Academy guidelines, which will remain there on item 27. The second part that will be removed and come back to the next board meeting would be the dance club guidelines. Okay, if we're clear on that, I would entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve with the stated adjustments to the agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and second to formally adopt the agenda with the exception mentioned on item number 27. Please call the roll.
Dr. Williamson?
Yes.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes. The next item are the July 9th and 10 special board meeting minutes. We'll take the July 9th board meeting minutes first. If there are questions, certainly we need to address those.
Recommend approval for July 9th.
For July 9th.
Second.
We have a motion and second to approve the July 9th special board meeting minutes. Please call the roll.
Dr. Williamson?
Yes.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes. The next item is the July 10th special meeting minutes. If there are questions, now would be the time to address those.
Recommend approval.
Second.
We have a motion and second to approve the July 10th special board meeting minutes. Please call the roll.
Dr. Williamson?
Yes.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes. The next item on the agenda are the regular meeting minutes of July 13th, 2015. Is there any discussion or questions?
Make a motion to approve?
Second.
We have a motion and second to approve the July 13th, 2015 regular meeting minutes. Please call the roll.
Dr. Williamson,
Yes.
Mr. Majors,
Yes.
Mr. Allen,
Yes.
Mr. Denton,
Yes.
Ms. Kelly.
Yes. The next item, under summary of awards and achievements, Dr. Mendenhall.
Yes, Madam President, members of the board, I bring to you tonight a special recognition, actually two of them tonight. The first one is the Certificate of Excellence in Financial Reporting, which has been awarded to our business office. This is an award that they have won 3 years in a row, and very, very happy for them. Received a letter July the 30th stating that congratulations, the Association of School Business Officials International is pleased to announce that Broken Arrow Public Schools has received ASBO's Certificate of Excellence in Financial Reporting for the fiscal year ending 2014. As the only award program specifically designed for a school district financial reporting, the COE represents a significant achievement and reflects a high level of commitment to fiscal integrity. To receive the award, the district must satisfy specific guidelines for effective, high-quality financial reporting recognized by the school business officials. Your school district merits special recognition for receiving this prestigious award. Before I have Mr. Thompson come up, I'm going to brag on him first and then let him talk about the work that goes into making this happen. I want to say a lot of positive things. You know, we've been here, this is the end of our 5th year, starting our 6th year. And during the tenure that Mr. Thompson has been here, our fiscal responsibility for the district has been never better. We have done some really great things. We've got checks and balances in place. We've done the right thing with the money, and really credit him and his work that he has done. Hired a lot of staff to make sure that we are making sure that we have the proper checks and balances in place. But more than that, when you look at the financial stability of a school district, nothing's better than knowing that from year to year, even from month to month, you're going to be okay, and that we're spending our monies appropriately. And so I give a lot of credit to Mr. Thompson and his staff, but I also want to give credit to others because I know there's a lot of work that goes into this. So if I could have Mr. Thompson come up and maybe speak to some of his staff members.
Okay, well, I appreciate that. We have I'll briefly introduce the team that works on this. The part of this for me that's I guess this year I'm the most proud of is as we progress, we went from 4 years ago when we first started we're kind of you're the crazy old man that wants to do this, and to this year they were able to do almost all the work by themselves. Basically my job was to review, to provide input, that sort of thing. And really the other part before I introduce them is you got to understand that if you haven't ever read the CAFR document or seen it, it includes and encompasses a lot of information, not just financial. And so we can't do that unless we have the communication department reviewing that, and Adam going over the format, and Shelley and so forth, and getting information from a variety of pieces of departments to get the document you see, and you can review that online if you so choose to. But it has all of our accomplishments, student accomplishments, and all that sort of stuff in addition to the financials. But with that, I'm going to just introduce them. They're accountants, so I'm going to make them stand. They're not really excited about that. But we're going to start off with Kathy Mitchum. You just want to make sure you understand she is the project lead. So she is the one that makes this tick and makes it happen. She'll take care of all the trial balances and make sure everything's balanced. And you know, if it doesn't, she's going to wear me out. So she does that. Well, obviously, you see Natalie all the time. So Natalie gets to stand up. Come on. And she's the most happy. And so she participates in this, as well as Donna. Go ahead and stand up, Donna Dahlhan. And she does all the revenue portion. And so the group together, what is important to me is not only is we're performing the function, but we're also learning. And so as they go through this, they learn how all the pieces tie together far more than they ever would if we would just do it the normal way. Of reporting, there's only 3 schools in the state that do it. So it's not something we're required to do. It's just something we're going above and beyond and trying to represent our community as best we possibly can with how we report. So I don't know if there's any questions that you have or anything like that, but
Mr. Thompson, I do want to say, you know, given the fact that I was elected in 2009, and given where we were as a school system, we've come a long, long way. Now, I do know it takes an entire staff, and certainly you are a key part to building the capacity within the organization to do the things that are necessary to build the CAFR. We all understand that. But it takes an exceptional kind of leader that really delegates and allows people to do the work that they're required to do, and do it and feel as though they can come to you, they can engage you as the CFO. And so that's nothing small. That's a huge thing, because we all know we've had an opportunity at different parts and times in our career, myself included, where we may not have had that opportunity. So we thrive better when we collaborate and work together. And I do think that this is evidence of your collaborative style of leadership, and I appreciate that very much.
thank you.
Well said, Cheryl. I couldn't have said it any better. Thank you.
You know, the next one that we have is we have another award. This is a presentation and discussion to talk about the National School Public Relations Association Award. It was presented to the Communications Division. Interesting thing about this is that we've also grown that department a little bit, and we've really tried hard to make sure that the things that we're communicating both internally and externally are done in a very professional manner. And I'll tell you, this is probably one of the hardest, if you ever put out of things that you can always do better. Communications is always usually top 5 things that you could do better. And I'm very proud of this team. I feel like that they have really started to work together and really coming together as a cohesive team. Received this in June. This is the letter that I received. Congratulations. The national, what's called INSPRA, 2015 Publications and Electronic Medias Contest has been completed, and I'm delighted to announce that you have won the following: Award of Excellence for the entry Here We Grow, 2015 Bonn election video. The Award of Excellence winners will be receiving plaques by mail, and we're going to show you that tonight. There were 919 entries from across the country, and in the publications portion, there were 568 entries on different things, and there were 99 out of the 919 that received the Award of Excellence. So you can see that there's quite a bit there that we received. The other thing that we received recognition on was the Arrow Point magazine. There was actually a couple of those that were looked at. The Award of Excellence winners will receive plaques by mail again. There were 919 entries for this, and they also received the Award of Excellence for that. Award of Honorable Mention for the entry into Tiger Threads, the official BA Spirit store. They received that award as well. So what I'd like to do is have Ms. Shelley Holland Handy to come up and recognize some of the group and recognize some of the folks that have helped make this reality.
And here is our lovely Award of Excellence that we got for a Bond video. And I wanted to just talk about my team for just a little bit, because we are a small but mighty department. And we support the whole district, not only in internal communications, but also in getting good news out about the district. And coming from the private sector, I've had the opportunity to work with some really talented individuals. And since coming into this position, I've had the opportunity to get to know a lot of people from the communications divisions from districts across the nation, and I would put our team up against anybody. We have the best graphic designer, the best web person, the best social media manager. We do a fantastic job, and I'm certainly very proud of them and everything they do every day to support the district, and I hope you will join me in congratulating them. Specifically for the bond video, Greg Spencer produced that in-house. Adam Foreman did the voiceover, as well as some of the graphics in that. And there was some work with different people in scripting it within the department. And then in AeroPoint, that's a collaborative effort with Adam, Christina Dixon, and also Amanda and I also work on that together. And then in terms of the Tiger Threads package, that was Adam's doing. So we have some really, really talented individuals here, and we're really fortunate to have them in the district. Thank you.
Will those individuals stand, please, so we can recognize you?
Amanda and Mark are here on go ahead.
You know, it's not often that we bring forward some of these awards because one of the things we've always felt like is this part of our responsibility to make the district look good and make sure that we're doing our jobs. So this was something that I felt like that we needed to bring forth to the board and let you know that, a lot of our people are doing really good work, and really appreciate them. I think what we can also say is that they make us look really good. And better than that, they make our kids really look good. And I think that's really what we want. Back to the financial reporting, and then I'll stop. That's something that when Mr. Thompson and I first met, that was one of our first conversations that we had. And coming in, as Ms. Kelly said, that we had some things that were not quite where we wanted it to be. And one of the things that we said that we were going to do was we were going to make this district proud of what we do financially. And I think we've done that. I think we really have. And you're right, it's not just our finance department. It's really a team of people, our administrators understanding it, our teachers and staff understanding it. We've given stipends for the last 4 years in a row. We've given we've really tried hard to make sure that we get the money into the classroom. So I give a lot of credit to our staff for doing that. So thank you very much.
And Ms. Holland-Handy, I would like to thank you certainly for all of the things that we are seeing as a school district. I know that each of us have an opportunity to extend ourselves to different members of the community, and certainly I've had that opportunity, and many of our community members are very excited at the information they do get from the website and the other sources. So we certainly appreciate you and your staff. Thank you. Okay, the next item on the agenda has to do with the public comment. Seeing that we do not have any, we're going to move to the next item, which are the reports to the board. Ms. Casey Westman.
Madam President, Dr. Mendenhall, and board members. I'm just going to report on some things that happened this summer. June 16th, we went into negotiations with the district. It went very smooth. A 3% stipend was approved for returning teachers. A step increase was also approved for all certified staff. An additional step was added to the salary schedule, which would be step 30. There was also discussion on stipends and some other language changes that will occur. After teachers have returned and settled into their classrooms in September, the ratification process will occur in September, and Katie Cook will report back to you on the results. In July, we sent 3 members to the NEA Representative Assembly in Florida. It was 7 days of debate. The Every Child Achieves Act was in full focus during this assembly and would soon be voted on after the assembly. I am happy to say that we made a positive impact on the act, and with 10,000 teachers from all around the United States with many multimedia tools, we can make a difference. In August, we are preparing for an opportunity to recruit new members at the new teacher orientation on Friday, August 14th. And we will also have an information table set up at the Back to School Bash on Monday, August 17th. I want to also thank the district and board for continued support of the payroll deductive dues. This issue is set to arrive on the floor again soon, and our members are again ready to fight it. In closing, I just want to wish you a great school year and welcome your continued support. Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is the general consent agenda items 12 through 33 with the exception noted. Is there discussion or questions?
Recommend approval.
Second.
We have a motion and second to approve the general consent agenda items 12 through 33. Please call the roll.
Dr. Williamson,
Yes.
Mr. Majors,
Yes.
Mr. Allen,
Yes.
Mr. Denton,
Yes.
Ms. Kelly.
Yes. The next item on the board agenda is the Superintendent Board of Education Communications, Dr. Mendenhall.
Yes, I have before you the dates. As you know, that we have to set the calendar for the following year for the Board of Education meetings. You notice there that January through December are all listed. I believe we have 2 meetings that have been scheduled for June 6th and June 27th. All the other months have 1 date. So I kind of bring this to you tonight for your I bring this to you as a recommendation and would like for you to give me any feedback or any changes that you might have. So
Any discussion?
Dr. Mennel, do we have this year, was it 2 months we had 2 meetings?
yes, we did, I believe, April.
It was April.
It was April. One of the things we felt like that we needed was 2 meetings in April because of the, I guess, the employment stipends. It was usually the stipends that we were doing. So we really didn't utilize that this year, so we felt like that we're going to try it without the 2 meetings and see if that works. Of course, you know that June is always tough for us because we're hiring a lot of people in the summer. So
When are we supposed to go to the national conference in Boston?
That's in April.
yeah.
And the dates, to be specific, it's the first part of April, but certainly I can get,
9th, 10th, and 11th?
yes, I believe that's correct.
Okay, and it looks like we have an April 11th board meeting.
Well, I thought we avoided that, but let me.
Let me go to my calendar too. Returning.
I do have the NSBA conference in Boston,
Yeah,
and
we would be returning on that Monday usually.
so I do have that through the weekend. So it looks like Friday the 8th through Monday the 11th. It looks like. So you are correct. We probably ought to move that date.
To the 12th
Yeah, either
Or the 18th?
or the 18th.
or the 18th. I would recommend we move it to the 18th, move it to the next week, if that's okay with everyone.
Is the 18th okay with everyone?
Sure.
Okay.
Works for me.
So Ms. Stites, if we could, move that date to the April 18th date, I think we'd be better off.
And Steve, thank you for bringing that to our attention.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Sure.
So at this point then, what we're looking at is moving that April 11th meeting to the 18th. Outside of that, everything else would remain the same. Is there further discussion? I would entertain a motion to that effect.
Make a motion to approve the proposed dates, changing to April the 18th date for the April meeting.
Second?
We have a motion and second to approve the proposed board meeting dates for 2016, with the exception of moving the April 11th, 2016 meeting to April the 18th, 2016. Please call the roll.
Dr. Williamson?
Yes.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes. The next item is, has to do with the board retreat, or not the board retreat, but the administrative retreat, Dr. Mendenhall.
Yes, very excited to report. We, every year we do a administrative retreat, and each year I always wonder if we can do better, and because the one before it is always really, really good, and so we've outdone ourselves once again. I mean, I thought that the retreat was fabulous. We had a facilitator. His name was Bill Cordes. He was out of Kansas, and he took us through our actually day and a half that we had. We started off over at Central on Main and really did a lot of team building exercises, and felt like that we were getting a lot of momentum. A lot of the things that he talked about were the things that we need to do to build culture within our buildings and within the school district. Later in the day, we actually got on buses, and all of the administrators went on buses, and we toured the district. And you might say, well, good grief, I mean, doesn't everybody know where everything's at? You would think that that would be the case, but we actually we went to operations, we went to the warehouse. Where else did we go? We went to, yes, we did. Blue Star, yeah, that's right. We went to the Blue Star Mothers, and really what we did there was we packed boxes and actually were able to mail boxes. So we basically did a rotation, and it gave us really a good chance to not only to learn about the district, but to go into some of the places in the operations and the transportation areas that some of us had not been in. So with that, we came back later that night and finished up our evening, and then the following day we kind of followed up with a lot of team activities. So what I would tell you is that it's not only a great opportunity for us to come together, but it also gives us a chance to really plan for the following year, and really gives us a chance to kind of get re-energized for a new school year. It's kind of like our back to school kickoff. We always try to do that to re-energize our teachers and staff. And so this professional development opportunity for our administrators is always nice to do, and gives us a chance to kind of recharge our engines and ready to go. So actually what I'd like to do is recognize Mr. Perry, and I think Mr. Blackburn. Who else was on your committee, Mr. Perry?
We had quite a few. Mr. Adamski was, John Gilbertson. Who else is here? Gina. I think Barbara. Thank you. If I'm missing anyone, Tony Staffington. Holler if I'm missing. I think that's everyone. But I had a great team and felt like the retreat was very good.
He had a acronym called Yoga Whippy. You only get out what you put in. And really, when you think about it, that's true. And so you even had people from accounting that were participating in Happily. And so that's the best joke I'll have all year.
I see a lot of hands going like this.
So, yeah.
So what's that mean?
Yeah. But it was a lot of fun, and I think there was a lot of camaraderie that came out of that. So we appreciate the opportunities that you guys provide us to do those things, and wanted to kind of give you a report on how that went. So
Thank you, Dr. Mendenhall. The next item has to do with the board showcase, and this is information only, so we're just discussing some possible dates. Dr. Mendenhall.
Yes, we've put some dates down. We looked at Fridays. Fridays are usually the best in the as far as the during the day in the fall. So we've put September 25th, October 2nd, October 9th, and October 23rd. I believe in the past we've had a November board showcase, so we've kind of been all over the place, and we just kind of want to get your idea of what date would be okay. If we can't pin down a date, we can bring back some others, but we felt like to at least kind of get this conversation started. You might ask, what are we going to go see this year? That's still pending right now. We're still looking at different programs. We feel very strongly that you'll want to go to the Freshman Academy and probably see the one-to-one project that's going to be we're going to be going through, and then there may be some other programs, a couple other programs that we'll see. So, been a very positive program that we've done. Of course, the board comes in, we call the roll, make sure we have a quorum, then we get on buses, we invite the community to go with us, and it has really been a positive day. And we usually spend, I think we started around 9, and we're usually completed by 2 p.m. So usually lunch is involved, and so just wanted to kind of get those dates out there to see if you're available.
Dr. Mendenhall, I would make mention that the 9th is the foundation golf tournament, so there may be some overlap with people that might want to attend the tour on that particular day. So outside of that, I'm looking at my calendar, and it looks clear for the 25th, the 9th, and the 23rd, if in fact, did I say the 9th? The 25th, 2nd, and 23rd. The 9th is the foundation golf tournament, so.
I think we ought to mark that one off if we
Yeah.
could then, because I think there'll be some people that will want to be here for ours.
I personally have a conflict on the 25th, but the 2nd and the 3rd, 2nd and 23rd are definitely open.
Do you think, and I'm just throwing this out there, that it would be better to have it on the 2nd rather than the 23rd, given that it's around the fall break time? I don't know. I'm just, does that pose any issues? Okay, I wouldn't think, but I'm good either one of those as well.
And I probably, yeah, I'm wrong. In 2016.
October 2nd.
Well, I was looking at October 23rd. What does October 23rd look like for everyone?
I'm going to inquire, but fall break, what dates are the fall break? Okay,
It's the week before.
okay, the week before, all right. So we're good, either one of those.
Yep, I'm good.
Are you guys okay with that, the
Either one.
23rd?
23rd?
Yep.
That gives us a little bit of time. I prefer us get in school a little bit and have a lot of our projects going full speed. So I would prefer October 23rd. Ms. Holland Handy, are you okay with that? I know that your staff kind of works on this, so.
Okay.
Okay, so let's go ahead and if we could,
Sounds
let's
up.
go ahead and say the 23rd.
Since this is an information item, we will not be taking action on this. So we'll move to the next item on the agenda, which is operations.
Would you like for us to bring back?
I think it would be a good idea.
Okay, we'll bring back the 23rd then. Okay, thank you.
Okay, the next item, Mr. Dwayne Thompson.
Okay, as we prepare for the next round of construction, we have 2 items tonight. The first one is to approve GH2 as the architects to provide the architectural services for elementary school number 15 project. Basically what we need to begin to do is start taking the areas that we have land and be able to look at the placement of schools and so forth, and we need to start drawing that up as soon as possible so when the bond funds are available in the spring that we're ready to take bids and start construction. So this will get us rolling on that. So if you have any questions, basically it's the same as always. We'll give Michelle the opportunity to finalize those contracts so we can move forward with that next project.
Mr. Thompson, can you tell me if the 6% fee is what we've paid before?
That's what we've been,
Okay,
yes.
thank you.
The other thing I might mention is GH2 has built the last 3 elementaries that we have constructed. And so our intention is that we would recite, but when you resite, that doesn't mean it's going to be identical. It's going to have based on a pod concept with a full-size gym, cafeteria, full-size science room, choir room, etc. So be about potentially 90,000 square feet is what we're looking at. So it'll be recited, but not necessarily visually, not look exactly like Creekwood or exactly like Highland Park, but it'll be on the same concept.
Any questions?
Nope, that look good to me.
Recommend approval.
Second?
We have a motion and second to approve the award to GH2 Architects to provide architectural services related to the design, bidding, and construction of the new elementary school number 15 project, and to authorize the Chief Operating Officer to negotiate the terms of the contracts. The total cost to the district will be 6% of the cost of the work and will be paid from the 2015 bond funds. Please call the roll.
Dr. Williamson?
Yes.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes. Next item.
Okay, the next item is, I'm sorry?
Karen, we did not get any voting buttons.
I didn't get mine the whole time.
Did you?
I didn't get
We
any
didn't get any
earlier.
voting buttons.
I did on this one.
Well, you know what?
Did you?
That may be why.
I got one.
I didn't get one. Okay. I had them the entire
time, and then it went away.
for all the other votes until this one.
I needed to reduce mine.
Yeah, I didn't have them earlier.
Has it all already moved to your next item, Mr. Allen?
I'm gonna try to go back to 30.
That's okay. Never mind.
I think we can get it manually
That's
on that
fine.
end, and so we can just move forward.
Okay.
There's 38. Oh, no, that's the next one.
But you're on item 38, correct?
Yes.
Now? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, the next item is the selection of architect for the Sequoia Middle School, and that is being recommended to be G.S. Helms and Associate. They did quite a bit of work at the high school and various projects throughout the district. I would just remind the board that since there is so much to be done at Sequoia, that this is going to have to be done in phases, and there's going to be a lot of movement over the course of time. So while we're talking about this project, it's going to be a long process of getting that done when you're talking about the movement and the students being there the entire time and so forth. So it applies to this, but I just want to make sure you understand that there's going to be several phases of construction at Sequoia to get it in its final, the final design. So,
Okay. Discussion or questions?
Are they handling all the phases?
That would be our intent.
I think that's the intent from here on out, for them to complete all those phases.
Okay.
The other thing too, that just to know about GS Helms, they're both GS Helms and GH2 are local firms. You know, we've used a couple of firms out of Dallas, but we've chosen to go ahead and go with local on this particular project because we really feel like that there's going to be a lot of on-site for those architects. So
Yeah.
we feel pretty good about, and we've had success with GS Helms. So that's why we bring them to you tonight as well.
Good.
I would entertain a motion.
Recommend approval.
Second?
We have a motion and second to approve the award to GS Helms and Associates LLC to provide architectural services related to the design, bidding, and construction of the Sequoia Middle School renovation and expansion project, and to authorize the Chief Operating Officer to negotiate the terms of the contracts. Total cost to the district will be 6% of the cost of the work and be paid from the 2015 bond funds. Please call the roll.
Dr. Williamson?
Yes.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes. The next item, Mr. Grant Moore.
Good evening. I'm here to seek your approval for B&T seal coating to seal coat the remaining parking lots at the high school in the amount of $31,222. Payment will come from building fund. Over the summer, we've redone the stadium lots, the multipurpose lots, and the field house lots, and this will complete out the southern half of the parking lots at the high school.
And we do expect this will extend the life of the
Yes,
parking
seal
lot.
coating will extend the life.
Discussion or questions?
Do they have any idea how long it'll extend the life?
It really depends. It depends on the weather, its usage. Obviously, parking lot C is in bad shape, needs to be replaced at some point. The drainage
Not every
is-
year it does, doesn't it?
Yeah, pretty much,
It's
yeah.
just gonna make it last.
It's a very large project. The drainage alone would be very expensive. I think Michelle has said it'd be in the range of $2 to $3 million to replace that parking lot. So we're just doing what we can to prolong it.
Part of the problems we've had is the back parking lot sheet drains. It does not have storm water retention. So we've really kind of looked at what are our next options. The best option is to spend about $2.5 million and do all the storm drains and redo it.
Right.
At this point, we've done a lot of top coating, and we're trying to seal coat the whole thing and then restripe it to make it last as long as we can, because it's a pretty big number just to get the whole thing done. You notice that the front lots are really in good shape. We've redone those, but I do think that this will at least help us. Do I think it's a 10-year plan? No, I really don't. Because
Couple of years maybe.
I would say if we can get 3, we'll be really glad. So, but we are trying to do what we can. I do feel like that that back lot has just been one of those things that we've tried really hard to patch, and at some point we're going to have to really just replace the whole thing. But you can't do that unless you do some stormwater retention.
Other questions? I would entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve?
Second.
We have a motion and second to approve the quote submitted by B&T Seal Coating, Inc. to provide parking lot seal, coating, and striping at the high school. The total cost of the district is $31,222, and it will be paid from the building fund. Please call the roll.
Dr. Williamson?
Yes.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes.
Thank you.
The next item under instructional services is Dr. Janet Dunlop.
Good evening, President Kelly, Dr. Mendenhall, members of the board. I bring to you tonight a new policy. It's basically an existing policy that we've completely had to overhaul. As we discussed in our board retreat recently, we have some special circumstances in which we're getting ready to launch a one-to-one initiative at our freshman academy, and that required some rewriting of policy when it had to do with student use of internet and electronic devices. So the policy that we bring to you tonight was a policy that was actually written by RFR, our attorney. We had to have a few minor additions to personalize it for our district. But to highlight some of those changes in the policy, our previous policy, the difference is that it combined both our staff use of internet and our students and electronic devices. Well, everything has changed so much in just the last 5 years that it invited a rewrite of almost all of it. And the reason is because the previous policy really kind of had a no-use policy for students using anything electronic. Well, that's not feasible now because we're encouraging the use of electronic devices. And the staff and adult policy was really also a kind of a child protectionist view. And so we're rewriting that and splitting them in two. So tonight's is just the student use. The reason we need to bring it to you for approval tonight is because we are handing out those Chromebooks this week to our freshman academy students. So this is part 1 of 2. The second part will come to you soon when we rewrite the adult version. So the policy number is 4295, and it is the student acceptable use of internet, electronic, and digital communication devices. It outlines the intent of providing internet for educational purposes. It also gives guidelines for students being issued a district device. We didn't have that in place before. It also clearly states that there's no expectation of privacy when students are using this device because it is a district device. And just like any other instructional tool, it can be used unwisely, and so it does have specific guidelines on things like bullying, inappropriate material, all those things we had in place already. It just specifically speaks about students using electronic devices. It outlines the student's responsibility to report any offensive material that they may see or have access to. We have great filtering systems, but if, in case it does happen to get through a filtering system, we want to make sure that the students know that it's their responsibility to report that. It also, I really appreciate this part, is that it speaks specifically to students not having the right to be able to video themselves or other classmates. That's a violation of privacy, and it's inappropriate to do that unless they have the approval of a school official. And finally, it outlines that students will receive internet training on appropriate use and safety of using online devices.
You might mention too that within this policy, it's got the agreement that the students will sign.
Yes.
The parents will also sign, and then there's also the second contract or agreement is the electronic device itself. So we should receive 2 signed pieces of paper from the students, one for the usage and then one also because they're taking one of the devices. So
and there's a third form we may receive from some students where they may opt to purchase insurance through the school to cover the device. They can also choose to cover it themselves. Mr. Daly and I talked about this. The homeowner's policy would cover it, but it's a $200 device, so they might as well just pay for the device if they choose to not get our insurance. But our insurance is so affordable that I think it's around $23, 26. So it would be a wise choice to just go ahead and get the insurance.
I felt like the policy was very comprehensive, and it should be applicable to anything that we might see. And I know that the instructional division, along with technology, have had quite a few conversations around this particular policy. So certainly appreciate your work and everyone else's work on this.
Thank you.
I have a question, Dr. Dunlop, and it is a great policy. And it's very important too because of the digital usage that's being used in every single freshman. What process do we have to assure that we're going to get signatures from every single freshman? I know just from being an old coach, getting those physicals back in and that letter back in from mom and dad.
That's a great question.
So what's the...
So this week
ensure we
when
get
those freshmen go to pick up their devices at the Freshman Academy, and that's going to happen on Wednesday and Thursday, the parents actually have to accompany them to the Freshman Academy to get the device and sign off on all of those materials before they put it in their hands.
Other questions?
And we won't bend that, we'll just let them use it until we get it back, right?
No, unfortunately.
That's good.
I would entertain a motion.
Recommend approval.
Second?
We have a motion and second to approve the new board policy 4295, student acceptable use of internet and electronic and digital communication devices in section 4, students. Please call the roll.
Dr. Williamson?
Yes.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes. Next item, Mr. Lance Crawley.
Ms. Kelly, Dr. Mendenhall, members of the board, I bring to you tonight policy 3140 for your approval, promotion and graduation requirements, grades 9, 10, 11, and 12. We had first reading in July, and this is for your voting for approval. And I would entertain any questions.
Questions, discussion?
Make a motion to approve?
Second.
We have a motion and second to approve the proposed changes to Board Policy 3140, promotion and graduation requirements, grades 9, 10, 11, and 12, in Section 3, instruction. Please call the roll.
Dr. Williamson?
Yes.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes.
Thank you.
The next item, Ms. Gina Costner.
Good evening. Ms. Kelly, Dr. Mendenhall, members of the board, I bring to you tonight an agreement for your vote on a motion to approve or disapprove, the agreement with PCG. This program is just simply to be in alignment with the new program that's going to be running IEP systems throughout the state for our Medicaid documentation so that it will align and correlate easily.
Are there questions?
There's no cost.
Okay, thank you.
Recommend approval.
Second?
We have a motion and second to approve the new agreement between Broken Arrow Public Schools and Public Consulting Group Education, providing an increased compliance and revenue recovery for medical services being provided for special education students. There is no cost to the district for this program. Please call the roll.
Dr. Williamson?
Yes.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes. Next item,
Okay.
Ms. Dias.
Good evening, Dr. Mendenhall, President Kelly, members of the board. This evening I bring to you an agreement between Broken Arrow Schools and the Chip Shop, which is a fundraising opportunity for the students at Liberty. It's associated with their PTA, and there is no cost to the district.
Okay. Questions?
Recommend approval.
Second?
Have a motion and second to approve the new agreement between Broken Arrow Public Schools and Chip Shop, providing the students at Liberty Elementary a fundraising opportunity associated with the PTA. There is no cost to the district. Please call the roll.
Dr. Williamson?
Yes.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item, Mr. Mark Officer.
Good evening, President Kelly, Dr. Mendenhall, members of the board. This item is to accept a grant offer in partnership with NSU from the Robotics Education and Competition Foundation. In essence, that foundation went to NSU and said, we want to partner with the district, all secondary sites, to form a competition team at each site. And if a district will do that with us, we'll provide the competition kits, which are valued at around $1,200 to $1,300 a piece. If they agree to have a scrimmage once a year, as well as have a meet once or attend one meet a year. So there is a cost to the district. This first year we anticipate about $2,200, and then every year after that around $1,700 to $1,800. And in conversations with principals, they're excited about it, and they want to change some other ways that we spend money on instruction and be able to bring this to our kids. Since there's 10 kits total, 9 secondary sites, it seems logical that we would do 2 at the high school since it's such a large place. Each team could have between 5 and 10 kids, so we're not going to hit nearly all the kids that are going to be interested, but it's a place to start.
Yes. Any questions?
Recommend approval.
Second?
We have a motion and second to approve the grant application and receipt of funds for Mark Officer, Director of Secondary Instruction, for a VEX Robotics Kits grant in secondary schools through NSU Robotics Education and Competition Foundation. Total paid to the district is $13,000. Please call the roll.
Dr. Williamson?
Yes.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes, thank
Thank
you.
you.
The next item under Student Services, Ms. Luann Goodacre.
Good evening. The first thing I bring to you tonight is the bakery bid. We'd like to give the bid to Harris Baking Company out of Rogers, Arkansas, in the approximate cost to child nutrition of $100,000.
Okay. Are there questions?
Recommend approval.
Second?
We have a motion and second to approve the agreement with Harris Baking Company to provide bread and bakery items for all sites for the 2015-16 school year. The cost for the bread will be approximately $100,000 and will be paid with the child nutrition funds. Please call the roll.
Dr. Williamson?
Yes.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes. Next item.
I'd like your approval tonight to award the bid for ice cream novelties and for our birthday celebrations at our elementary sites to Gregarian Foods, and the estimated cost of $40,000.
Okay. Is there any discussion?
Recommend approval?
Second.
Have a motion and second to approve the purchase of ice cream novelties from Gregarian Foods for a la carte sales at sites and birthday celebrations monthly at elementary sites at an estimated cost of $40,000, and that's to be paid with the child nutrition funds. Please call the roll.
Dr. Williamson?
Yes.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes. Next item.
I'd like your approval tonight for the acceptance of a bid from Curtis Restaurant Supply to install a walk-in freezer cooler at Linwood Elementary in the amount of $47,261.90 to be
Okay.
paid by Child Nutrition.
Any discussion?
Recommend approval.
Second?
A motion and second to approve the purchase of ice cream novelties. Did that move?
Yeah. You're,
Okay, so we're doing it again?
no,
No,
You're
no,
on,
you should be on,
Frozen cooler tab.
Curtis Restaurant Supply,
yeah,
Okay,
Curtis,
I'm not there.
the walk-in freezer and
Oh,
cooler.
hold on, I'll do it.
47.
It's not a problem. Let me move.
No, I'm on 48.
Okay,
No, I'm on.
so we are on item number 47, correct?
Right.
Okay.
I'm on number 48.
Well,
It
let me read that motion, please. Okay. The motion and second to approve the acceptance of a bid from Curtis Restaurant Supply for the installation of a walk-in freezer cooler at Linwood Elementary in the amount of $47,261.90 and will be paid from the Child Nutrition Fund. Please call the roll.
Dr. Williamson?
Yes.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes.
Skip mine too.
Just might add, I did not receive a vote button, so you just manually record that for me, please. Thank you. Next item, Ms. Welber.
Good evening. Tonight I bring to you a motion to approve the agreement between Broken Arrow Public Schools and the Tulsa City County Health Department for the implementation and evaluation of the Coordinated Approach to Child Health program. There's no cost to the district. This program will be piloted at Arrowhead and Linwood Elementary. It's an evidence-based program that provides nutrition and physical activity and intervention for elementary-aged children. And it's aimed at preventing childhood obesity.
Okay. Any discussion?
Recommend approval.
Second?
We have a motion and second to approve the agreement between Broken Arrow Public Schools and the Tulsa City County Health Department for the implementation and elevation of the Coordinated Approach to Child Health in-school program. There's no cost to the district. Please call the roll.
Dr. Williamson?
Yes.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes.
Thank you.
Next item, Mr. Jason Jadamski.
Good evening, President Kelly, members of the board, and Dr. Mendenhall. I bring to you this evening a motion to approve an agreement between the district and Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers. This agreement would provide a sponsorship by Raising Cane's for select events and activities at the high school, and there's no cost to the district.
Okay. Discussion?
Recommend approval.
Second.
We have a motion and second to approve the new agreement between Broken Arrow Public Schools and Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers for the purpose of providing activities sponsorship to select events, activities at Broken Arrow High School. There is no cost to the district. Please call the roll.
Dr. Williamson?
Yes.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes. Next item.
The next item is an agreement between the district and Sports U Tulsa. This agreement would provide some entertainment for the Broken Arrow High School Aloha Bash, and the cost is $300 out of activity funds.
Okay. Any discussion?
Recommend approval.
Second?
We have a motion and second to approve the agreement between Broken Arrow Public Schools and Sports U Tulsa, providing entertainment to the students of the high school for the BAHS Aloha Bash. Let's see if I can get that out. Total cost of the district is $300 and will be paid from the activity funds. Please call the roll.
Dr. Williamson?
Yes.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes.
Thank you.
Next item, Dr. Rick Dale.
President Kelly, Dr. Mendenhall, members of the board, the first item I have for you is a discussion, motion, and vote on a motion to approve or disapprove the agreement between Broken Arrow Public Schools and Sade Music to provide instrument repair for this school year. Total cost of the district is $21,999 and will be paid for from band general funds.
Discussion?
Recommend approval.
Second?
We have a motion and second to approve the agreement between Broken Arrow Public Schools and Sayed Music, providing instrument repair for the 2015-16 school year. The total cost of the district is $21,999 and will be paid from the band general fund. Please call the roll.
Dr. Williamson?
Yes.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes. Next item.
Second item we have is discussion, motion, and vote on a motion to approve or disapprove a new agreement between Broken Arrow Public Schools and Dance Concepts by Kelly Mitchell. Ms. Mitchell will provide choreography for the Pride for this school year. Total cost of the district is $15,300 to be paid for from activity funds.
Any discussion?
Make a motion to approve?
Second.
We have a motion and second to approve the agreement between Broken Arrow Public Schools and Dance Concepts by Kelly Mitchell. Ms. Mitchell will provide the choreography to the Pride for the 2015-16 school year. The total cost of the district is $15,300 and will be paid from the activity funds. Please call the roll.
Dr. Williamson?
Yes.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes. Thank you. The next item under Business Services is Ms. Natalie Ena.
Good evening. We've started off a brand new school year, so we have a little bit of financial information to go over. In general fund, you can see not too much activity yet as we do not start receiving state aid payments until August. So really the main thing that we've collected is in some of our federal sources, claims from the prior year that we're receiving in our new fiscal year. There is a bit of a variation between this year and last year due to the timing of two of our main federal claims, our Title I and our Special Ed 621 claims were just paid in August, so you will see that reflected in next month's reports. Ad valorem at this point, all we have collected is a little bit in back taxes. Just for your reference, our initial allocation for state aid this year is $46.5 million compared to our final allocation last year of $46.9 million. In flex, we're at $10.2 million starting off the school year, and last year we ended up at $10.1 million. We did receive positive news from both Tulsa County and Wagner County as far as our preliminary valuations. Please note that these are preliminary. They have not been blessed by the excise board as of to date, but they did go ahead and send us preliminary numbers. We're at about a 4% increase from where we were last year. We were projecting a 3% growth in our valuation. Last year we were at about $769 million. This year we're at $799 million and some change. Excuse me. This puts our tax rate in sinking fund at 28.13 mils versus 29.5. And again, this is all very preliminary. It has not been blessed by the excise board, and we fully expect the tax rate and sinking fund to go up a little bit as we continue to sell bonds, but it's a good thing that we're down from where we were last year.
Ms. Ena, do you know, so Wagner was pretty high as well as Tulsa County?
Both counties increased.
Great. That's really good news.
And this will be a big help in our building and sinking fund, of course. General fund, it is a chargeable, so it is deducted from our state aid, but it does definitely help us in building and sinking fund.
Which we have shifted some of the expenses over to the building fund, which really helps, yes.
So when we get the final values blessed by the excise board, you'll see them reflected in the estimate of needs that will go to the board in September, and that'll set our legal budget for the year. Any more questions about our values?
No, but it's exciting that we continue to increase that.
Yeah, we were, Dwayne and I did the numbers this afternoon, and right at 4% of increase, so that's very positive for us. Building fund, again, really we're just working off a little bit of back tax collection in our ad valorem and some other local donations you can see added in. Child Nutrition Fund, we have not collected our summer food program revenue that, again, was deposited in August, so you'll see that caught up next month. General fund expenditures are summer payroll from summer school, and everything else is added in there, and pretty much everything else is to date. You can see in this 900 area, this is our workers' comp expense that's transferred to our self-insured fund, and you can see that's right on track with where we were at last year. Building fund, again, payroll and purchase property services has actually gone down a little bit, but that's where we code our utility services and other areas like that, and so that will probably be caught up to very quickly as the school year progresses. Child Nutrition Fund, everything is pretty much on course. You can see the main difference in Child Nutrition Fund this year is they put in a big blanket encumbrance for their workers' comp expense at the beginning of the year, and so that's what this outlier is showing this year. And we are estimating 14%. Next board meeting, I'll be able to give you a more concrete ending fund balance for 2015 as we are finalizing those numbers for the estimate of needs, and you'll see that filled in a little more concretely.
Any discussion? Thank you. The next item is Ms. Donna Dollahan.
Good evening. I'm here to give you the Treasurer's Report as of the end of July. Cash balance report shows a total of $61,705,000 in assets for the district. Included in this figure are investments that total $50,790,000. Our fund security and deposit report shows a total of $74,573,000 in collateral pledged to the schools. Our deposits that require collateral total $36,996,000, leaving an available balance of collateral in the amount of $37,577,000.
Any questions? Thank you.
In the activity funds, in July, the receipts totaled $282,595. Disbursements totaled $139,624, leaving a balance in the activity funds of $1,991,000.
Any discussion? Thank you.
My next item is to bring you the request for approval of the NJROTC subaccount and guidelines for the high school. You approved the program at the April 27th meeting.
Are there any questions? I would entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and second to approve the addition of the NJROTC subaccount and guidelines for Broken Arrow High School Activity Fund. Please call the roll.
Dr. Williamson?
Yes.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes,
Thank you.
Next item, Ms. Kathy Metavallis.
Good evening. The first item are the change order reports for all of our funds. Would recommend your approval of these change orders totaling a decrease of $27,218.13.
Are there any questions?
Recommend approval.
Second.
Have a motion and second to approve the change order reports for general fund, cooperative fund, building fund, workers' compensation, bond funds, gift funds, and child nutrition fund for the 2015-16 fiscal year. Please call the roll.
Dr. Williamson?
Yes.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes. Next item.
Next item are the encumbrance reports for all funds. Just one small little note to bring your attention to. On the July 13th meeting, I wasn't here, I was on the beach, drinking cold water.
Just had to throw that in or what?
You voted to approve the purchase of a bucket truck.
And in that item, the purchase was to be made from building fund. We moved that to a bond fund, so that is actually reflected on the encumbrance reports under bond 32. You'll see that as Altech Inc. for $74,900. So just wanted you to know that that's on the bond encumbrance report.
Thank you for that information.
But we have encumbrance orders totaling $3,347,186.24.
Any questions?
Recommend approval.
Second.
We have a motion and second to approve the encumbrance reports for all funds for the 2015-16 fiscal year. Please call the roll.
Dr. Williamson?
Yes.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda, Mr. Ed Fager.
Good evening, President Kelly, Dr. Mendenhall, members of the board. I've got two items tonight. First one, number 59, is a second reading of a revision to our equal opportunity non-discrimination statement. It's policy number 1250. And this policy reflects the adoption of a new statement that's been provided by our district's legal counsel, which represents their negotiations with the U.S. Department of Education's Office of Civil Rights. And so this will be a statement that they're going to be pushing out to several districts. So I'm asking for your consideration and approval this evening.
All right. Are there any questions?
Recommend approval.
Second.
We have a motion and second to approve the proposed revisions to Board Policy 1250, Equal Opportunity Non-Discrimination Statement in Section 1, Board of Education. Please call the roll.
Dr. Williamson?
Yes.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes. Next item.
Okay, the next item is a discussion, motion, and vote on motion to approve or disapprove revisions to Board Policy 6160, our purchasing and procurement policy. And we're bringing this as an action item tonight. There was previous discussion, I believe, at the board retreat where it was determined that we wanted to increase the spending limits for our purchase orders and requisitions, increase the limit from $25,000 to $50,000, and that will coincide with the competitive bidding requirements that are already in our policy. You'll continue to approve all the encumbrances, but this will allow the superintendent to authorize purchase orders and requisitions prior to formal board approval, which will kind of streamline the business operations of the district.
I just wanted to make certain that it's understood that the board retreat was an open meeting.
Yes.
It was open to the public, so so that's why we are referring to that as the first read. This is the second read. Are there any questions?
Recommend approval.
Second.
We have a motion and second to approve the proposed revisions to Board Policy 6160, Purchasing and Procurement in Section 6, Business and Technology. Please call the roll.
Dr. Williamson?
Yes.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes. The next item is new business. Seeing that we do not have any, we're going to move to the next item, which is the executive session.
Make a motion, we move to executive session.
Second.
We have a motion and second to move into executive session. To move into executive session to discuss the purchase and or appraisal of real property in accordance with the state statute 25 OS section 307B3. Please call the roll.
Dr. Williamson?
Yes.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes.
I don't have voting buttons.
I know it. Oh, there it is.
Oh, there it is. Don't, you get in a hurry over it.
Just kidding.
I would entertain a motion to move back to open session.
Make a motion, move back to open session.
Please call the roll.
Dr. Williamson? Yes. Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes. The next item, if the board clerk would please read the account of the minutes.
Board of Education, Dr. Mendenhall and Dwayne Thompson entered into executive session at 7:20 p.m. to discuss the purchase or appraisal of real property in accordance with State Statute 25 OS Section 307B3 of the Oklahoma Open Meeting Act. The Board of Education returned to open session at 8:23. This constitutes the minutes of the executive session.
The next item on the agenda is to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. Please call the roll.
Dr. Williamson? Yes. Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes.